Kasi mahirap mag first thing first, you have to identify yung talagang qualified na barangay na recipient. Kasi napakahirap mag-identify out of the 30. Kasi politically, pag pumasok, baka may magselos, or tama ba na ito yung i-recommend. And then the scheduling, yun yung mga challenges. How would you schedule 7 barangays with a lot of activities na hindi lang naman yun yung activities namin. So, kailangan matagal yung ano nyo, yung meet up, matagal yung meetings, yung mga exchanges of emails, na mga communication before we came up with a very concrete schedules. And sometimes nadidelay pa. May mga unannounced activity itong barangay na to. So namumove lang namumove. So minsan nga instead of 6 months lang yung program, napoprolong siya into 8 months, umaabot pa ng 1 year. So matagal talaga yung preparation. Pero when you get there to the main schedule, it's so easy na eh. Kasi we've been doing this for how many years? Ang problema mo lang, one challenge is the participants. If the participant is not actively participating, that is one big problem. Siyempre, as instructor or resource speaker, medyo nakakatamad na parang sayang, we should have identified a more active barangay. Na-experience namin, may mga barangay kami na hindi nilang ma-encourage yung community na maging active sa trainings. For free naman lahat, even meals, training materials and everything. Yun yung challenges.
So, ayun po. What were the concrete efforts done in the collaboration for the project? Concrete efforts.
Complete effort.
Concrete effort.
Concrete efforts.
Yes po.
Natapos namin.
Yes po.
Well, right now, mas naging accurate ang contingency plan ng 7 na barangays, like the barangay Pinagbuhatan. And yung realization nila on their roles, mas naging in fact, during the drill na ginawa namin, the one who stood up as the incident commander is the barangay captain himself. So, napakaganda nung concrete na nangyari kasi nagkaroon nung from siguro 80% achievement of that barangay, naging 98% sila. And nanalo sila sa isang competition ng city as the one of the barangay with the best emergency disaster management. So, napakaganda nung naging outcome sa kanila.
Go ahead, 6-0, go ahead.
So, ayun po. When it comes to collaboration po, who decides
Who decides what?
who decides if mag-go or hindi? And what are the considerations po?
Of course, it is through the instruction of the city mayor. Without the instruction and approval of the mayor, no project will push through. That is one thing. Once the mayor handed to us the project, it is the disaster officer. The disaster officer will now turn it to us from the admin team. And we will do the coordination, the meetings, and we will just have to update him on what's going to happen. So, partly, I played part in the decision making, on the recommendation. But of course, with the approval of my higher authorities. And then we will give recommendation to the mayor if we're going to push through with the project based on our recommendation. But if we find it very favorable for the city and for the constituents, then we help them a lot. In fact, it's really a big break for us, the 7 barangays. Because who will give you 100,000 worth of equipment? My God. Although they have their own barangay disaster fund, 100,000 worth of equipment is really big.
And ayun po, are there any ground rules for collaboration?
Just the one offering that should be accredited. That is one thing.
Accredited,
Like the we know CDP, they are very well known when it comes to disaster management as NGO volunteers. So there's no question about the integrity of the organization. So we have to check. There are a lot of NGO who want to tie up with us, but we see to it that we will have a gain and that it will be favorable to the stakeholders, or especially to the constituents of the President, for the common welfare of the President.
So, what are the present activities naman po of Pasig DRRM?
There are a lot, I guess. There are a lot, from the training, from the events. Right now, this month, we are conducting and celebrating our 6th Disaster Readiness Month activity. For 6 years, we've been doing this type of event, a competition type like, but disaster-related activities like what? We are Timba Brigade Challenge, wherein there are 10 players exchanging pail with water. That is to test their capability when it comes to fire incident. We do have the Fire and Rescue Combat Challenge to test their skills on rescuing when there are fire incidents. And it involves a lot of sectors. We involve the schools, we involve the barangay, the private sectors, other LGUs. So it's really a major event. And yung Disaster Readiness Month activity kasi, it was conceptualized immediately after Undoy. So Undoy is really a wake-up call for all of us. And since then, we keep on doing a lot of effort to remind us that Undoy will never happen again. But if we want to achieve that kind of feeling, we really need to conduct such activities to make each one self-sufficient and make Pasig City resilient to everything like earthquake, flooding, and any type of hazard.
So, overall, what were the obstacles or challenges when you collaborated with CDP po?
No challenges except for time frame. Sometimes time frame is really a big challenge for all of us, especially that sometimes there are a lot of conflict in the scheduling and with the availability of the speakers, because that is not only the program, as what I've said. There are a lot of programs that we need to give priority also. So that is just one. But when it comes to the people performing each individual task, it is no longer an issue because we have trained a lot of people for that.
Ready
Yes.
So basically, that's all from me.
That's all?
Yes, we want other
No more.
Ayun po. So thank you for sharing with us wonderful information about your group and the city itself. And ayun po, we're looking forward to working with you ulit if ever we need more information po. So yun, basically it's about collaboration. We're looking at collaboration with CDP and your office.
Were you able to interview CDP also?
We would interview
So that you could counter-check if what information, all the information that I gave you is also the same information that you need.
we have scheduled na po kaso yung person po na yung interview namin is not available right
For
now.
Pasig kasi, you may look for Sir John Pineda. He is the project coordinator of siya yung na-in-charge dito. But I'm confused if DRRNet is under CDP, Center for Disaster Preparedness, because what I know, CDP, I know one person from CDP, it's Ma'am May Fortuneta. You know her? I could help you. Iti-text ko siya to accommodate you. Si Miss May Ford. John Pineda, siya yung nag-handle dito ng project ng 7 yung sa yung ginawa naming programa for the 7 barangays.
If ever po we can interview
Mamaya. Contacts. Hindi ako nawala na yung skills ko nung napag-aralan ko ng computer science. na-incline na ako paggawa ng sulat, paggawa ng report. So if you're going to ask me what's the latest computer programming language, I do not have any more ideas. Hindi ko alam, na-update na lang ako sa IT. More on CCTV na yung alam ko. Kaya hindi ko na mapapractice ngayon yung course ko. John Pineda. You just mentioned to him that I referred you para ma-accommodate na kayo. Baka may question ba kayo?
Miss, did you have third-party facilitators for the collaboration? Mainly, kayo lang po talaga.
Yes.
Tapos, yung a lot of times po na meetings, yung how many times did you meet? Can you give us a number po? Estimation po?
Siguro it took us mga 3 to 5 meetings before we started the project. Pero nung nag-start na yung project, meron kaming mga parang meeting in between. Parang yun yung updating on what's happening, na kailang percentage na kami dun sa program. And then, we learned a lot from them. In fact, meron silang nakakatuwa yung management nila ng mga It's not just on professional level. Meron silang, you will check on one another. So may self-improvement. You will be able to improve yourself as facilitator or as a group. Meron doon, mag-uusap-usap kayo what is the highs and lows. Pag highs, yun yung achievement, yun yung parang ano yung magandang nangyari for the day. Yung lows, yung bad. Like, ako, niinis ako sa kanya kasi ganyan, ganyan. So, nagkakaroon kami interpersonal collaboration with each other. So, nakakatuwa. Marami rin kami natutunan dun sa tie-up namin sa CDP. They are well-trained, so very professional, even on the time. Pag dumarating kami sa program, nandun na sila lahat, everything is set, nandun na lahat ng materials na gagamitin. So, tsaka totoo yung sinabi ko na hindi lahat alam mo na. Maaaring may alam kami na hindi nila alam na i-share namin. Ganon din kami. Kami natuto yung staff namin sa kanila kung paano mag-manage ang isang team. Dami nilang natutunan.
So, you are willing to have many more projects?
Yes, with them.
Very open?
Very open kami kasi ang sarap nilang katrabaho. Alam mo yun, nakakadala yung adrenaline nila. Lalo na yan, sina John Pineda, yung iba pa nila, kung mag-meet mo, napaka-husay nilang coordinate sa mga tao. Tsaka magaganda yung nilang systematic. Pati yung tsaka naka-framework sila sa Republic Act talagang, yung 10121. Parehas kami. So we're talking the same language. So it was never a big problem for all of us. Kasi mahirap kung di namin alam kung ano yung tinuturo nila.
Miss, is it possible for us po to get a copy of the files po dun sa specific project from your office?
What, di ba I gave you already?
I mean, yung yung as in dun sa project itself.
Actually, until now, that is one thing that I'm still waiting from the DRR and from Mr. John. Because the last time that we talked to him,